Everyone, welcome into TexAgs Rewind, presented by Specs. I said rewind, weird. Rewind, presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got the Pounding the Rock guys, Luke and Tap, and we also have Caitlin here. All right, what was your favorite part of the show? Tap, you go first.
I think it was that first segment when Nick said he couldn't wait for the Pounding the Rock early this morning.
Yeah.
when it was you during the go hour.
Oh, go hour, always good. Luke, your favorite part of the show?
Has to be Brawny with all the transfer portal craze. Brawny's always on top of it with recruiting country.
He was fantastic. Caitlin, I'm going to assume you're going to say John Harris, but you say who you want.
Yeah, John Harris, of course.
I didn't mean to put words in your mouth. What were you thinking?
I was thinking y'all, I was thinking Brawny, all of them.
Okay, everybody. It's the Rewind. Check it. Dr. Zeno is 6'4", 210. Okay. He's from San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
Previous schools, he was at UAB 2022 through 2024. He was at Baylor 2019 through 21.
Huh.
So, yeah, this would be his 7th year. 69% percentage completion rate. He's thrown for just shy of 5,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, 360 yards rushing, and 6 touchdowns rushing.
Okay.
Not bad numbers.
Not bad at all.
2023 season, he was hurt this last year. I believe it was his non-throwing shoulder that was hurt. This so in 23, 73.6% completion percentage, threw for over 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions.
Okay. Got to cut down that 9 interceptions, but be interesting to know who they were against. You know, if they were playing an SEC team, for instance, and you're behind your pass protection is somewhat suspect, and you had a lot in that game, But the numbers sound pretty. The numbers overall sound really good.
I think you'll laugh at this one. In the 2019 Big 12 championship, what quarterback do you think he played against?
Let's see. In the
2019,
was that? I'm trying to.
Oklahoma
State,
Oklahoma.
God,
Jalen Hurts. Holy smokes, he's been playing college football a long time. Because I feel like Jalen Hurts has been with the Eagles since I was a child.
Wow.
Even though I covered him as a grown man.
It is crazy what's happened because of COVID, and you get that free year, and then you get the 4 games and still red shirt, and then you get, I guess, an injury forgiven season, and all these things. Yeah.
He was sacked 28 times in 23, bottom half of the country. That's a lot.
Is that also the year he had 9 interceptions?
Yes.
Okay, see, that's starting to make sense.
His time to throw, 2.72, which is 8th in the AAC.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of protection.
I watched and covered Rashad Johnson. So now you sit there and you watch Rashad Johnson Jr. and I'm like, oh my God, this is not good. So, but I'll tell you the one thing that kind of stands out to me about this class, just looking at it, David. First of all, I feel like it's a little bit more Texas national mix as opposed to being national Texas mix, if that makes sense. They were going out and they went and got Fidel Diggs out of New Jersey, amongst others. But I don't say they went back to roots, but just looking at this class, it feels like it's a lot more Texas based, which, obviously I'm going to be happy about. But then when they went out of state, they went to Florida, California, and they went to states that they know you can have success just throwing a dart and finding a few players. Like I said, Rashad Johnson Jr. I don't know how you end up pulling him out of the state of Florida, but anyways, point being, I feel like that focus on Texas again is going to end up paying off in the long run. Hate the fact they lost Longstreet out of Centennial. I follow the California scene now a little bit more. I've been doing it for a while, just kind of following Centennial and Mater Dei and Bosco and Servite and just those big schools. And so kind of following them from afar. So I watched him play. I was really excited when he was with A&M, but obviously the pull of staying home to USC, I think, was probably a bit too much. So at that point, okay, let's not have a transfer portal situation. We just had the transfer portal situation before we even got there. So, you pick yourself up, you find quarterbacks from wherever you can, and hopefully Marcel Reed ends up being the guy going forward. And he can win you some games for the next 2-3 years, and you can build up that quarterback position without Longstreet, who'll go to USC.
Here's why I think getting Jacob Zeno was important. Because what did we say after the Texas game when they were looking at this transfer portal market and going, and you have to obviously take inventory of your current roster, kind of felt like Connor Wigman and Jalen Henderson were going to move on.
Mm-hmm.
That left you with Marcel Reed, Miles O'Neill, who you had to try to keep because you like his upside and he's a young kid. And then it was going to be Brady Hart, who's going to be 16 when he enrolls.
16?
And Eli Morcos.
Holy smokes.
How old are Christian and Cruz?
16.
So, yeah. Can you imagine them walking into a college soccer program right now?
No, much less a football program
Right.
with grown men.
Right. So, I love Brady Hart.
And Zeno's a seventh-year player, right?
Right,
So,
so
talk about the difference in like the topics.
8 years probably, 9 years between.
Yeah.
I don't know how old Zeno is, but he was class of 2019, I think, in high
2019.
school. So when you go into the portal and you're looking at that roster, because it was just Brady Hart and Eli Morcos coming in as young freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
So to give yourself as much insurance as possible and as much cover as possible, you went into the portal with a criteria of what you were looking for. And it was old, experienced, and a guy that, man, if he had ties to the state of Texas and wanted to come back home, it would be great.
Right.
You know, it would be a lot easier for that guy to digest coming back home late in his career, probably not an NFL guy. Who knows? You know, these kids that Jacob Zeno's probably got good football still left in him, and that's why you got him, because if something happens, you can't just get into a situation where you're left with super inexperienced players against an SEC schedule. So they had some real criteria they were looking for if they were going to add a quarterback, and they went and did it early and got it out of the way.
Move on.
And I think that is because you were going to have to comb through so many quarterbacks to try to fit that bill. To get it done early does give you some kind of weight off your shoulders as you now expand your transfer portal horizons into other positions. To have the quarterback done, just like in a recruiting class, you get the quarterback done, you feel good about, okay, that's the big one. Let's go get the other one.
Let's go get the rest of them.
Yeah.
Wade's freshman year, and Henry when he transferred from Duke, and Logan laughed at me, and people laughed at me because I get it. Like they hadn't done anything, but like they're set up the same exact way. Like you've got that; those are your two cornerstone pieces.
Now you look at it, Wade has already passed AC Law and Joseph Jones for 3rd and 4th place in the all-time scoring list, and Henry is set to pass Joseph Jones for the all-time leading rebounder. So you weren't too far off. I have to give you credit. That was good ball knowledge. But you made those predictions when they were coming in, and now 3 and 4 years later, they're reaching those
Shocking
goals.
that a guy that's now the head coach was an assistant coach,
Right.
helped put that team together, those teams together.
Well, and here's the difference. Like those guys, the ACs and the Joseph Jones, that crew, Marlon Pompey, that whole gang, they got a step further. We need this group to at least, I mean, I say at least, I know how hard it is to win the NCAA tournament, but we need a little bit more postseason success to be in that same breath. Am I right, Tab?
Yeah, no doubt. And, I think if people go back to, Logan's team, and say there was disappointment there again, San Antonio, and it's set up.
I was there.
But it does get difficult. And to me, I think the athleticism of around the country has just risen since those years. But you just got to rise with it. But this team has got to prove it. And I think they have the ability, but I think they have the depth and the score. They do have shooters and scorers this year that they haven't always had.
Yeah. Luke, when you look at this team, where are areas that you think they are, if not elite, really good? And where are some areas like, I still worry about this?
I think it's what we've been talking about for multiple years. The rebounding, it's getting to the same level it was last year. They didn't really explode until conference play, but you're starting to see them put the pieces together. Even without Andy playing against Texas Tech, they still had 19 offensive rebounds. And so they only won the offensive rebounding battle by 2, but you're still seeing signs that this is still an elite offensive rebounding team. And then, of course, the three-point shooting.
All right, Tap, tell the people what to do.
Watch the rewind.
Yes, yeah. But what do they do after the rewind?
I'm not sure.
What do you think that? What do you ever watch YouTube?
No, I don't. I'm usually at the house watching it, so I apologize. So I don't even get this last hour.
So what you tell the people to do is you tell them to like,
Oh, like and follow.
And
TexAgs,
comment.
And comment.
And subscribe.
And subscribe.
I do this
I'm
to
sorry.
everybody. The first time
I
on the rewind.
apologize.
No,
I'm still in awe. I'm just looking around. So don't ask me all these questions. Or they could go eat at a place I know of.
yeah. How do we say? How do we hint at that place?
Let's see. If you had I think Olin told me this. If you had an egg and you dropped it, it would
Be
break.
another.
Yeah, it would be
broken
the
one.
second one would be the broken one.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see you next time.